Oh, can you pull it up? You got to hold the bass down, the other bass.
All right. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Building El Salvador. It has been a long weekend, and we have needed to process through this first retreat, our launch party, everything that happened. So we thought, what better way than to bring us all together around the table and just talk and ask ourselves questions and shoot the while we figure it out.
I like how you're learning.
I also found the soundboard.
Yeah. Yeah. What an amazing weekend, man. Holy cow. Better than I thought. Exceeded my expectations. I have no idea what's going on over here. Gentlemen, we're live. Did you guys break the microphone already? Oh, shit.
Maybe.
So Paul's with us. Alain is here with us, who was a guest at our retreat.
Oh, dude.
And Ben is here as well. I think we got to move
Hey,
the
guys.
camera to see Ben. What's up, Ben?
Which camera?
It's that camera. Say hey.
Peace.
So Ben's helping us with the musical side of Sovereignty Studios. And at the launch party this last weekend, we sang a teaser of a song that Ben has been writing based on Max Kaiser's tweet. Do you want to tell us about it?
The song's called Everything Goes to Zero Against Bitcoin. It's a blues in E.
E minor.
E minor. Minor blues.
Screw that in.
And it was
Simple
fun.
lines.
It's going to be a fun song.
The
Next
other
up,
way, bro.
I suppose we should have figured out the microphone situation before going live. So anyway, for those that,
Damn, what a way to start out, huh?
for anyone that's not familiar with what's been happening for the last,
Keep on going. Just keep on going. There you go. There you go. That's good. And then plug it in. Did we just restart this?
No, it's too late.
Too late. We're in.
We're in too deep.
All right.
So for anyone that hasn't been following along the adventure, the last 6 weeks we've been working on a retreat. We developed this offer. We figured out what it would be, what would be really valuable for people in regards to coming to explore El Salvador. So we put this together. We started marketing it, making content. And this last weekend, it finally happened, and it went swimmingly.
Yeah. So I don't think there's enough hype. There's enough excitement on how good this retreat was. Like, this was freaking awesome, dude. I've never felt more alive in my life. This was just
Really?
the most amazing time that I've ever experienced. Yeah, because of all the hard work that we put into something. We brought people from all over, the world together to enjoy and share a beautiful moment. And yeah, I think that was a really big thing. Nothing went wrong. That's the other amazing part about all of this. Like, everything went right. It exceeded my expectations. And man, I'm just super hype about it, dude. It was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, we got great social proof about this thing we're trying to do, but not just about the retreat. And that's what this whole thing made me realize, is that even everyone that came to the retreat, this is a community we're building. This is a vision. This is a mission. These are values and principles that we're trying to put out there in different forms. And I would say that pretty much everyone on that retreat aligned with that. And now everyone's part of that community spirit that we're trying to build. And that's the real, I guess, product in what we're doing. It's the community spirit of Sovereignty Studios. And so that's why it went so well.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was, I didn't know how it was all going to turn out at first. I had my doubts, but as things started to unfold and I realized how things were falling into place. And that's the other thing. People were just rallying to make sure that this goes well, like things that needed to get done, found someone to do them. And that was really cool to see. And then just the conversations that we had during the retreat, the experiences that we shared together, I mean, it really felt like we were building something bigger than what we initially thought. It really felt like we were bringing people together for something really impactful and meaningful and purposeful. And it was a really cool experience for me. It's one of those things where I was like, wow, what else can we do? If this is a month-long uh, journey. What else can we do? Hey, Jordan, why are you messing with everything? I can hear myself.
It's too loud in my headphones. So what do you think, Paul? How did it go for you?
It went really well. It was a absolute pleasure to meet all of our guests from around the world and to show them some Southern hospitality here in El Salvador. Yeah, taking them to the city center was pretty cool. I hadn't seen the palace myself, so experiencing that beautifully renovated structure for the first time was symbolic of where I believe this country is headed. There's a lot of work to be done in the city, but starting from that city center and moving outward, I think it's going to be quite nice in the coming years. In the following days as well, shuttling everyone around to Zonte and the lake, showing them the landmarks that we've come to know quite well. Was really inspiring. I tried to view the whole weekend from the lens of a first timer to the country. And by doing that, it made me appreciate it so much more. I more than worked with you guys. I was also a participant of the retreat and the party on Saturday night. And it couldn't have gone any better from my perspective. Everyone killed their respective roles. Michael and Jordan were fantastic hosts to everyone. It was awesome to see their dream and their work come to fruition. Everyone congratulating them on what they've accomplished over the last 8 months. It warms my heart so much, and I can't wait to see what we can build from this. Those are my initial thoughts.
Awesome. Should we move? Let's keep moving around the table. A line.
We're going around the table.
Yeah.
What
So
was
you
the
were a
question again?
first timer to El Salvador. What did you think? How did the retreat go?
Yeah. I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, I had heard, the news in the United States. I heard there was big changes, and I was just coming to hang out, with my buddy, my volleyball buddy, and to see Lily. We gotta get that Lily cam.
Yeah.
And it was great. I mean, that Bitcoin mansion, it really fills the role.
Yeah. It's a good venue.
Yeah, total good venue. But and we had lots of great excursions and lots of wonderfulness, really. But one of the things that really I didn't expect, and then I guess is just maybe where I come from. And where I come from, a lot of the times when you do events, you get people within a certain age group, maybe 5 to 10 years at most. And we had a good age group. And, I was talking to some of the guys, and I was talking about Hayek and this and that. And he was like, oh, yeah, I remember seeing him. And I was like, you saw Hayek? He was like, yeah, I was there, just because the age difference.
Who's Hayek?
Hayek, the author, H.A. Hayek or something like that.
Yeah, the economist.
Economist.
The big economist,
Oh,
big
okay.
libertarian economist
Oh.
from the 70s. He won the Nobel Prize.
He wrote Road to Serfdom.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
the dude.
And so people at our retreat had known him?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
And we're talking
wait,
about
because
from the
of the
70s.
age,
This
yeah,
is from
it
the
was-
70s, right?
right,
So, yeah.
right.
We had a wide age group at our retreat. We had people that were 14 years old, and we had people that were, I don't know, what, in the 60s. So
Yeah.
it was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just had all sorts of conversations, had some conversations about Ramdas, so it wasn't all orange talk.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we aim to do, right? Like, so I was thinking about it today because somebody was like, oh, that was a cool Bitcoin event or something like that. And I was like, it wasn't really a Bitcoin event. We are like a organization, a company building on a Bitcoin standard, but it's not the entirety of our identity, right? Like, we really want to capture the essence of the individual and help them grow that into something meaningful, impactful in this world. And so, on the surface we're a media and events company, but deep down I think that we're more than that. And so and the Bitcoin aspect of it all is just the fact that this is the platform that we're building on. We're building on something sound and something like that's sturdy and something that is going to like move us into the future and transcend this fiat paradigm. So yeah, I mean, we talk about that all the time, Jordan, right? It's like it's not necessarily a Bitcoin company. It's a company built on Bitcoin.
Ben and I were talking about that last night, and he put it in a really good light because we were discussing the idea of how in Sovereignty Studios we expand the team, we expand the operations based on people coming in wanting to do something, wanting to feel like they have purpose, wanting to be part of something bigger, and bringing their own talents and skills and knowledge and former experience to actually start doing it, using the resources, tapping into Sovereignty Studios and what we have to offer, and maybe parts of the team. So, for example, like Ben and I started making music. Like Ben is a professional guitarist and an awesome producer, and I like making music too, but like as a hobby, and it's just like fun. I like to perform, but he like really does it. So he like comes to Sovereignty Studios to the community call, going, "Hey, like let's make music for Bitcoiners. Let's transcend the fiat paradigm of Bitcoiners." Anyway, so last night we were talking about how, how cool would it be if everyone at Sovereignty Studios were doing what we want to do, doing what we love, and working towards a mission. And remember what you said last night?
I feel like the retreat was like a microcosm of the rest of the world. It was a pretty magical experience meeting everybody from so many different skill sets and coming together like that in El Salvador, which is making some real progress. And if other countries can kind of follow the same thing, then you can imagine a world like that. And I think that would be a beautiful thing.
Where everyone's doing what they want to do and everyone's contributing their skills and just doing what they want to do. And that's almost what a Bitcoin standard can offer the world.
Yeah.
That's what you said last night, Ben, and it was really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Matt didn't get the mic yet. How'd the weekend go for you? What are your thoughts on the weekend, Matt?
Does he have Matt is doing multiple things at once.
Yes. Okay. So before I go into those thoughts, the beginning of the stream was funny. Such chaos. I also had my screen sharing on for 2 minutes, so the viewers got to see me change the thumbnail and stuff while you guys were freaking fixing this microphone here. Just chaos. But yeah, guys, amazing weekend. Yeah, it was incredible seeing. It was incredible to see how this all came together. How we, Michael and I were talking about this earlier. We willed it into existence. It was the general plan, like on the specifics. We started putting them together a month or maybe a little bit longer ago, and just to see all our guests there, around 20 people having a very good time, talking about how they got to experience Salvador, see different places, and some people got to talk with Max Kaiser and his opportunities, and like seeing the happiness in their face. That was really rewarding, and I'm like really happy with how this turned out.
Yeah. I knew this was a good event when I saw Matthias put the camera down for a second and jam out on the dance floor.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. I think this weekend was the first time I saw the twinkle in Matthias's eye, like where he was like truly happy and in his element.
Yeah.
And like I saw it a few times, and I was like, "This is cool. I've never seen that twinkle in his eye before."
I don't know if that's concerning or what. I mean, I do love the work here with Sovereignty Studios.
No,
even
you're just
if
a
it might not
you're
show.
a workhorse, and
Got my
and
blinders on.
Yeah, and to see you, let loose a little bit and enjoy yourself. And I agree, though. Like, really, that was one of the most fulfilling parts of the retreat was hearing people's reaction, hearing people's and seeing people, get so much joy and fulfillment out of just interacting with like-minded, individuals. especially people like Max Kaiser and Stacey Herbert, like, you know, it made people's day, week, month, year. Like, it was like, man, I've been waiting to talk to Max Kaiser for so long, and here he is at your party, and I was just talking to him like a, you know, like a normal person would talk to a you know, anyone else. And he's like, that was just such an amazing experience for me to feel. And yeah, to see the joy that we brought to people, to see the connection that we, you know, this event created was really like, it made me want to do more. I was like, we should do this once a month.
Yeah, it was cool to, I mean, what brought to mind the most for me was it's just so awesome to like work with people and to meet people and to connect with people and spend time with people. Like, that's what life is really all about, you know, the connections and the relationships we form. And this weekend was so powerful in that regard. Like, it was sad saying goodbye to everyone today. I was like tearing up. Like,
I was giving everyone hugs, man. I was just giving them hugs and thanking them, because that's another thing. Like, people trusted us. They flew from, you know, all over. I think everyone was from the United States. So they flew from all over the United States to come join us. They put their trust in us. You know, we were, you know, delegated with showing them a good time. And that meant a lot, you know, and to have this all transpire and unfold the way it did. And I just, you know, I felt like grateful for them, because it's also a dream come true for us. And so, yeah, this morning I was just giving everyone hugs, man.
And they helped make it great because they were all such great guests.
Dude, we got so
really lucky. Yeah.
So, yeah, and even the retreat guests said it. They're like, you know, you didn't have one bad
Stinker.
apple,
Yeah.
in this bunch. It was like, and so if we're talking about like, you know, this as a prototype or this as a proof of concept, you know, I think the screening is a big deal. You know, this is why I don't want to advertise the retreat. I just want to market it through our social media, because through our social media is we have a very particular message, and that message resonates with a certain type of individual. And you know what you know what to expect with that individual. You know, they're open-minded, they're freedom-minded, they're easygoing, and, you know, most of them. But that's why you have the call before they actually book, right? And we talk to them in person. I got a couple comments saying, yeah, when I booked a call, I thought I was going to get on the, you know, on the line with a sales agent, and it turns out it's Michael and Jordan on the call. And so I thought that was good feedback, because, you know, for them it's really, if they're trusting us to leave their home and come to a foreign country and, you know, take an adventure, they want to know that they're in good hands. And so having us on the line I think is a very important thing, and I think it's just something we got to continue.
Yeah, but there's only 10 to 15 people coming. You don't need to have a sales agent, you know. It's not like we have a salesperson making 100 calls a day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like 10 to 15 people. It's a worthy investment to make sure that the person that wants to come would be a good contribution to the group.
Yeah, maybe we gotta have some screening questions prepared too.
Yeah, I think in general, we, like, even last time, remember, we had a few people that wanted to come. They ended up not coming for different reasons, but we kind of got the vibe after the call, like, oh, wait a minute, like, yeah, maybe this isn't for them.
Yeah.
So it seems to be working out organically pretty well so far. So what I wanted to really explore is, so I think we kind of already did, like, how are we feeling right now after? I'm feeling relieved. I'm glad it's over. I'm feeling excited for what's next. And what am I reflecting on? I'm reflecting on just how great it felt to work with all the people and to be making connections. And I feel like all the whole providing value about El Salvador, all that stuff kind of went out the window when it was just all of us together. Like, everyone's just hanging out. Everyone's having a good time, and it's about the people once again.
El Salvador is a shelling point, right? It's you know what, it's the focal point of what brings people together, and then from there, you know, that's where the personal connection comes into play. but like you need a place that has adopted, forward thinking policies and is thinking and is, implementing them and trying to bring prosperity to people, to bring those people together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And I just keep coming back to this idea that what we're selling has nothing to do with El Salvador, has nothing to do with, oh, you get to go on excursions like every meal. No, we're selling a community.
Yeah.
Like this spirit of, Sovereignty Studios. That's really what the product is here.
Well, we're tapping into Bitcoin's social layer, right?
That's it.
Yeah. And, Bitcoin, if they say, like they say, Bitcoin changes people. And these people have been transformed over time now, right? They've been orange pilled, so to say. It makes you see the world in a different way. And you realize that there's not many people that see the world the way you do. And so you're looking to connect because human beings naturally want to connect with each other. And so, yeah, we're just providing an avenue to do that. And so, yes, it is kind of a community building retreat here as well. Like, I feel like those people on the retreat made lifelong friends, and they feel like they now have a home here in El Salvador too.
Yeah.
All those people are saying, I feel like, I'm welcome here whenever. And I was like, yeah, you are, like you have a good community to tap into right away. And look how many people they met at the Sunset Soiree. Look how many people they met on through our network. Like they know they can come back now and know that they have people that they can tap into and trust and confide in right away.
And going back a little bit, I thought it was cool too that quite a few people on the retreat learned a lot about Bitcoin. A few people came, not so much about Bitcoin, but they learned a lot about Bitcoin. Some other people, they only had Bitcoin in the ETFs. So they were excited to get their first cold storage solution.
Dude, they were so excited.
Yeah.
Man. So a shout out to Ronnie from the Bitcoin hardware store. So we took everyone over there and he was surprised about how many people we brought over there. I think it was like 25, something like that, maybe 30. And he was like, dude, I didn't expect as many people. And I was like, well, like they're having a good time and they want to go to all the excursions. So everything on our retreat is opt-in, right? So if you want to just hang back and chill at the pool, you can. Or if you want to go on excursions, you can as well. And so I was like, Ronnie, I don't know how many people are going to chill. I don't know how many people are going to want to go. So I would say expect around 15 people. So we brought 10 more people. It was cool to see Ronnie in his element, educating everyone about Bitcoin and the history of El Zonte. I was just, I was really, really just happy to see all of that. And for those people, Ronnie was a huge resource. And they were super excited. It's so excited that they were like, can we invite him for dinner, please? We want to keep on talking to him.
Yeah, it worked out.
He had a Bitcoin ATM in his store as well. So lots of people actually got their first experience on using the Lightning Network, which I think was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
instantaneous payments.
Yeah, that was something that even before, like Tommy, when he's like, oh, I've never actually paid for anything in Bitcoin. I've never used Lightning. Like I'm really into Bitcoin and I believe in it and I save in it and all that, but I've never used it. So that was kind of cool. But then we don't market this as a Bitcoin thing, right? Bitcoin is just kind of a fundamental part of how we think and how we do things. So it was cool. Like people came, everyone's into Bitcoin, but no one's like a hardcore maxi. It was, I mean, some people were, and they helped talk about it. And Eric Stacks had our impromptu workshop last night. But it was just cool that was a value, that was a part of the value of this thing, was that people got to educate themselves better on Bitcoin.
Yeah, and going back to the maxi thing, right? That was the other thing. Like people go to a Bitcoin conference and they get intimidated because Bitcoiners they can be very intense, abrasive, even sometimes hostile. And that's not the environment that we had. We had some hardcore maxis. Like I don't think there's a bigger maxi than Eric Stacks. Like maybe Michael Saylor. Of course, there's never mind Max Kaiser. So, but we had one of the priest class Bitcoiners there for sure with Eric Stacks, and but he was very personable, and you know, he didn't come off aggressive, and I think that goes a long way into bringing people into the fold, you know, and helping them see the light, so to say, the bright orange light, because you know, people are on their own journey and they got to figure it out for themselves. And you know, everyone's gone through their phases where they've gone different rabbit holes, maybe the wrong rabbit hole, but to have someone there to say, hey, no, this is actually the way you want to go, this is the path you want to take, and do it in a way that's personable, and with I don't know what other word to describe it than with humility and love, you know, and say, hey, come this way, you're going the wrong way, was nice. It was nice, and I think that's what people can expect on this kind of retreat. It's not like you're coming into the lion's den and getting chewed out because you have the wrong opinion.
Well, plus when you, sorry, Paul.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
Joey's
no.
sorry.
Plus when you just bring people together, like all of our guests were like high caliber people, just in general. Like you taught a bachata class, right? Everyone has something to share, and even like whether it's the bachata class or Eric Sachs just like suddenly sitting down and everyone gathers around, so we give him a microphone. Like I really like this feeling of just like old school value exchange. It's like we enjoy each other's company, we share what we have, and we all get enriched thanks to everyone sharing themselves. And when you bring high caliber people together, that naturally happens.
Yeah.
Paul, okay.
The way Eric conveyed his thoughts was really eye-opening to not only the guests, but me and others who are pretty into Bitcoin. He orange pilled me even harder.
Yeah. heard that
Talking about
before.
how it relates to the global economy, how we live, you know, on our everyday lifestyles. I truly now believe even more that the more people that stack sats, get away from the quote unquote fiat paradigm, it truly can change the world and how it operates.
Yeah.
My buddy Blake flew in from Austin. He had planned on coming this past weekend months ago. Even before this retreat was a twinkle in Jordan
Oh,
and
okay.
Michael's eyes.
Cool.
And it was very serendipitous for him to come. And he really hit it off with Eric and his wife, Lacey. They've been texting back and forth. He told me, and he's just like now down the rabbit hole.
Oh, so he was, yeah, he said that the first night he wasn't that into Bitcoin.
No, someone at the gym we go to sent him $5 on strike the other day, and that was his first ever Bitcoin. And now he's like Bitcoin or bust.
Selling his house and putting it all in.
So yeah, that's the other thing I realized on this trip, right? You know, Bitcoiners, they want to orange pill people, but they do it by like screaming at them and like, you know, telling them that the world is going to shit and they better buy Bitcoin or they're going to lose everything. And, you know, it's just sometimes the orange pilling can be very harsh and very pessimistic. And one of the things I realized on this retreat is like, you want to orange pill people, right? Show them a good time. Show them a good time. Show them what the spirit of Bitcoin is about. You know, bring them into your world and don't make it all about Bitcoin. Make it about the human connection, right? Make it about getting to know people on a personal level and just, experiencing life together. And they're going to resonate with your energy. And they're going to say, well, wow, why is this guy so optimistic? Why is this guy so hopeful? Why is this guy so cheerful? And, you know, they're going to realize, oh, it's because he's a Bitcoiner. And it's like, there's maybe something to this Bitcoin because I resonate with this guy. I like this guy. Because it wasn't just your friend. It was some other people on this retreat as well. They're like, you know, I didn't know what to expect on this retreat, and I didn't know anything about Bitcoin before it. But being here makes me really want to look into it. Like I feel like I'm missing out, and so I started to realize, the best way to orange pill people is to just connect with them on a personal level and have a good time with them. And that's, I think, a lot what this retreat has done.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's related, but we orange pilled the fruit and veg guy today. He came to drop off he came by to sell the fruit and vegetables, and all he had was $6 on Lightning, and we managed to convince him to download Blink Wallet and get on there, and he can transfer it to his bank. And he was all excited because he's like, I'm always scared of that stuff. I don't even want to start. But we got him in.
No, you should be scared of the dollar.
Yeah, that's what I tried to explain. Purchasing power and all that. But, you know, not everyone's ready to hear all that. But I told him, yeah, you can transfer it to your bank. You can still have it. He's like, oh, okay, fine. Great.
So, getting back to the retreat, what was your
My
what was
next
your
question. My highlight, if we don't count the launch party, which we haven't really talked about yet, if we don't count the launch party, what was my highlight?
Well, yeah, I mean,
You have one to go first while I think about it?
one of my highlights. No, I don't have one, man. Honestly, it was the launch party. That was my highlight.
Yeah,
we should
it
just
was
talk
fun.
about the launch party, right? Like after the launch party was over, the next morning I felt like a weight had been lifted off my chest. It was a lot of pressure to explain to people what it was like. We decided to do a retreat, and Jordan was like, "Okay, let's do it September 5th through the 9th." And I was like,
Yeah, as soon as possible.
yeah. I looked on the calendar. I was like, that's 5 weeks away. I was like, dude, that's not enough time to organize a retreat. You're crazy. And you know, little by little, we just started taking steps into making it happen. And we at one point crossed a line that we couldn't go back anymore. And
We fucking did it.
yeah. And then all the pressure mounted and mounted and mounted. And so after the sunset soiree was over, the next morning I woke up and I was like, holy cow. I didn't even sleep that good, but I felt light as a feather. And I was like, wow. Because we did it, man. Because we did it. And it was a launch party. It went fantastic. Like I said before, nothing really went wrong on the retreat. Everything pretty much went right, better than I expected. And so, you know, after that party, I was just like, it's all good, you know?
Yeah, after we got off stage and Max and Stacy were done and all of that, then that's when I felt the weight lifted. And we kind of probably noticed that on the dance floor
Well, I was still stressed.
when that DJ
Y'all got
started.
after it.
Yeah, man.
I was still stressed out afterwards because we had some party crashers, man. I don't know what happened. The security fell apart at the end there, and we had like 50 party crashers come to the mansion.
Yeah, so yeah, a lot of things in El Salvador are more about how they appear than how they actually do their job.
I was like, where are all these people coming from,
Yeah.
man? And they were fucked up, man. They
It
were
was like-
drunk as shit.
Yeah, it was like 9:30. Doors were supposed to close at 6:30, and like new people are walking in. I went to one of the security guards with the walkie-talkie. I'm like, "Yo, tell your boy in the front, like, doors closed 3 hours ago, and that these people weren't even on the list. How are they getting in?" Like,
Yeah, man.
Ain't no party like a Latin American party.
ain't no party like a Sav Studios party.
Yeah, that was cool, man. I think that put us on the map, man. We had a freaking good time.
I mean, to be real, if we didn't have guests that probably needed to sleep, you know, like we could have gone all night. That was so much fun. That
We
was
would have
so much
raged all
fun.
night.
And the DJ wouldn't stop when it was time to stop.
Yeah.
He just kept going. I'm like, you know, what a time.
Yeah, I told that DJ, I was like, "Hey, can you stop the music?" He's like, "No, 11." Yeah, shout out to DJ Paco, man. He was jamming all night, man. That was awesome.
Yeah. And he showed up at the after party, huh?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he showed up at Perpetual
Was
Playa.
he
and-
playing?
Yeah, he was playing
No
till about
way!
1:30, 2 o'clock for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started at 2
That's
o'clock.
awesome.
But I love that. You know, just pack it up and head to the next party because that's what it's not about the money, it's about the party. It's about the music.
Yeah. Well,
Start
it's about the
doing
money
it.
too. He wanted to get paid. That's
Did
for
he get
sure.
paid at the after party?
I don't know.
Because as I
honestly.
understand it, one of our guests just invited him over. He was like, "Yeah, let's go."
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some really fun guests. Awesome people came and
You know what? Go ahead. Well, I was gonna say when you were saying about our guests, I know who you're talking about, and it was interesting, right? Like, not only did we have a variety of ages over there, from 14 to 16,
Variety of lifestyles.
Yeah, it was definitely a variety of lifestyles too. There were like people that go to bed at 8 p.m. and then there were people that go to bed at 4 a.m.
Yeah, and get upset that breakfast ends at 9.
Yeah, it's just like, so yeah. I mean, next time, dude, I learned a lot from this retreat, and it's only gonna make the next ones so much better too. You know, and I think that we can even like, yeah, I just learned a lot. Like, there has to be a little bit of a variety and a little bit of what do you call it? Randomness thrown in there, you know, so people get out of their comfort zone a little bit too. And I think we just had the right balance, but there's some things to look out for to make sure that we continue to strike that balance, right? Like if we had too many 4 a.m. partiers, like there would be no one that showed up at 8 a.m. for the workshops.
Well, yeah, and it just becomes what the retreat is, which is kind of cool, except that we had an itinerary and plans and, you know,
yeah.
excursions at 8 a.m.
Yeah. So, you know, having a good balance was cool because it gets people, you know, to do things that they normally wouldn't do, right? I'm sure some people partied with the partiers over there when they normally wouldn't. And I'm sure that was cool for them. And then I'm sure they woke up early when they normally wouldn't and got to experience a workshop in the morning, you know, or an excursion that they normally wouldn't have done.
Yeah, I'm curious when we do the next one, if we target it more specifically. Like the next one's mainly going to be for Bitcoiners because it's before the Adopting Bitcoin retreat. So I'm curious if that will keep the age group probably closer together as well as the lifestyle and habits, or maybe not. But we're going to find out.
I don't know, man. I like it, man. I like the whole variety of everything.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot, actually.
You got so many different people from so many different areas, but the longer you spend in El Salvador on a Bitcoin standard, the more you realize that everybody can win. You know, it helps everybody win. There's less kind of competition against each other. There's more coming together as a whole to help everybody succeed. Everyone's there for each other.
Yeah, I'm trying to still figure out what that phenomenon is, right? It's very collaborative and cooperative, but it's more so like also, you know, El Salvador has put themselves out there. This country has put themselves out there as a leading force in, you know, transcending a new paradigm. And I think that everyone kind of realizes that. And so everyone's trying to make that happen, even if it's on a subconscious level. And there's this aspect where we're all kind of rooting for each other, you know, like, because they realize, hey, if you succeed, so does the image and the mission that this country is on. And so we all kind of like are just,
Everyone wants everybody to win.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's almost like a return to who we really are, which is collaborative, cooperative, tribal. We work together because that's how we survive, and that's how humans were for a long time until society and civilization got industrial and fiat and all that, and all about the individual and less about the community. And Bitcoin almost represents a catalyst to go back to what we truly crave on the inside, which is just connection. And who, you know, imagine if you don't want someone to succeed. Like, where's that coming from? Like, why would you not want someone else to be happy? You know?
Yeah.
That's the zero-sum game that's been created. You
Yep.
know, since,
Exactly.
since World War II.
But look inside yourself. Do you really like want to feel that way about someone else? Like, okay, you're jealous or something, but like, what's the problem with other people succeeding and being happy? You know?
Yeah. So, yeah. So I wonder about this, right? Like, it's, is it that Bitcoin has this effect? Obviously it does, right? But why does Bitcoin have this effect on making people more collaborative and cooperative? Is it because it reveals all the lies that have been told to us throughout our lives? Or is it because it's just a stable foundation to build upon, and when you build upon that, you just you naturally, the incentives are naturally to think that way?
I think there might be a factor that, you know, some of us or all of us still consider ourselves the underdog.
Oh yeah,
You know, it could be part of that. It's
that's
like
a
we're
big
still
one.
fighting against the machine, against the system, against the matrix. We got to pull ourselves.
So we have
together.
like a common enemy.
Yeah. Kind of like, you know, the aliens from outer space come in and all of Earth has to unite as much as they can.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we have this existential threat. And so we better rally together. Otherwise, we're not going to make it at all. Right. Yeah.
And on a fiat standard, it does cause a lot of jealousy. You know, it causes a lot of conflict. It's so unequal.
Yeah, because everyone's in survival mode, right? So it's a dog-eat-dog world. And
Constantly losing purchasing power.
Yep.
You know, people, you know, end up struggling, and people who are struggling to survive do stupid things against one another.
You know, we were listening to Hormozy in the car yesterday, and he was talking about how
We don't listen to music in the car, people. We listen to Hormozy.
obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, do we have to mention that? But even he was saying how like you have to raise your prices at least 5% every year just to keep up with inflation, right? And he is not a Bitcoin guy. He doesn't get it, which is surprising.
He doesn't?
Bitcoin and all that? No. I mean, a recent podcast he was talking about how like you should store your wealth in government bonds.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he still doesn't
Dude,
get
imagine if he becomes a Bitcoiner, he'll be supercharged, bro.
it. Dude, yeah, whatever. But
I can't imagine he's not a Bitcoiner.
but my point is like here he is talking about, yeah, you got to raise your prices at least 5% every year just to keep up with inflation. Warren Buffett bought See's Candy, and ever since he bought it, he raises the price every year, some years up to 17% to keep his profits going, blah, 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 because of inflation. Alex Hormozy gets that, but not Bitcoin.
So I don't know, man. Hormozy, in the off chance that you're watching this podcast, dude, supercharge yourself by getting orange pilled, and whatever you're doing, your $100 million offers turns into $1 billion offer.
We got to figure out a way to get him here. Get him to El Salvador to check it out.
Dude, let's
See the
have him on a
opportunity.
retreat.
Could you imagine?
Dude, we could do it. I think we could do it with our media presence.
Remember I got his attention with that AI
Yeah.
video of him
Let's
a while
fucking-
back.
Mosey Nation, please spread the word.
Well,
Dude.
anyway, I bring it up just to acknowledge the point here is your purchasing power is always going down. And imagine if anyone that does get it, they're raising their prices 5% every year. People that don't get it are not making more money every year. They're making less because they think they have stay competitive, keep your price down, race to the bottom. And that's just what's happening year after year.
Yo, so why do you think Hormozy doesn't get it, right? I think about this a lot. Or not a lot, but I think about it enough.
Hormozy doesn't get Bitcoin?
No, but what I'm going to go into. So business people, right? They see everything as like you need to be productive. And they look at Bitcoin and they look at it as gold. Like, dude, you're just, what are you doing? You're just sitting on your Bitcoin. You're just hodling your Bitcoin. You're not doing anything. And for Hormozy, like the mindset there, is like, no, you need to be productive with your money. Your money needs to be doing something. And so this whole hodl mentality makes no fucking sense to them.
So I don't know exactly what he does as far as like what his net worth is versus what he has in the bank or whatever. I have no idea. But I would imagine, and if we think about sovereignty, right? Sovereign mindsets, and Luke talked about this at the party the other night, which was a great point. Is you need to have, I forget what he called it, entrepreneurship sovereignty, geographical sovereignty, financial sovereignty. And
Yo, Luke was awesome, man.
yeah, he was awesome. And he
Yeah.
brought up this really good point, and it makes me think of that when we talk about Alex Hormozy, because once you reach that point as like a business owners of a hedge fund, whatever the hell he is with all his portfolio companies,
Acquisition.com.
like it's almost like at that point, yes, Bitcoin matters, but the trajectory of his growth almost makes it not matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like someone like him will ever have to worry about like going broke,
Yeah.
because he's just got so much of a foundation of all the businesses he owns, all his skills with business and entrepreneurship. So it's like, yeah, okay, you have 100 million in the bank, Alex. Yeah, you should probably put it in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it's not like he's going to like, go broke in the next depression.
Yeah.
You know?
You'll always be rich.
You'll
he's-
always be fine.
Yeah. Man, I wanted to say something, but I totally forgot. I feel like the podcast just got started, actually. Like
Here we go.
it took a while for us to warm up. We haven't done a podcast in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been super busy. When was the last one we did?
I don't know, man. I don't even remember it.
I don't either.
So yeah, and we've been super busy working 12-hour days, basically prepping for this retreat. And you know what? I gotta say, dude, like that's the other thing. For us, I've never done anything like this before. Have you?
Not to this extent.
Yeah.
No.
Matthias, what about you?
Yeah, twice.
Paul, you ever done anything
No,
like
I
that?
haven't played the hospitality game yet.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like
Run to the bathroom.
well, yes, the Mike Ruiz and the rest of the gang show now. I'll hold down the fort. So yeah, I for never have done anything like this before, I think we freaking killed it, dude. Not only that, but the sunset soiree, everything was just like it just flowed and went so smooth that I'm like, man, we can make this happen all the time.
Is this beginner's luck?
Maybe.
Are we like sort of like running scared, thinking, "Oh my God, this might be beginner's luck"?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Do you know what I think it is? So going back to Hormozy, he has this podcast where he talks about preparation, and then it goes also into Grant Cardone, where you got to put in the work to make things happen, right? And you need to know what it takes to throw an event like that, and then 10x what the inputs are needed. And so that was the mindset that I carried into this. And one of the big things about Sovereignty Studios that I really like, and I think that we should continue to work and to integrate into our culture, is that we all come from the same philosophical background, right? And we are all pulling from the same pool of ideas. That way we can speak the same language, and the signal between us is so much stronger then, right? And the communication lines are so much more, they have so much more fidelity, because, if I'm pulling from ideas that I read in a book, and you've never been exposed to the ideas, it's hard to communicate that to you. You have no background in it. But Jordan reads the same books I read. Matthias is reading the same books I read. And so I think there has to be some type of academy, right, for people coming into Sovereign Studios, so we can all speak the same language.
Yeah, the Academy is Sovereignty Studios.
Yeah. Well, we need to create the library of ideas for people that, for people to study, so that they know what we're about.
Yeah, I was taking notes on that today for when we finally meet about it tomorrow. But I think the next step is definitely to start exploring and/or actually build the first steps to this academy.
Yeah.
Because I think we have most of it ready. It's just about putting the pieces together.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome. So one of the things that I learned about from this retreat, like I couldn't have never done this on my own, right? It takes people with with all types of skill sets, right? What do you call that? That are compatible skill sets to create something like this. Like you couldn't have done this on your own. Matthias couldn't have done this on his own. I couldn't have done this on his own, right? My own.
A line couldn't have done it. Maybe a line.
It's like
The
dude,
bachata class I could have done.
yeah, that you got. Well, that's what I mean. And so, yeah, dude, imagine this is we're coming together to build something bigger than what we can accomplish on our own. The sum is greater than the total of the parts. I don't know.
Almost like a science experiment in a way, like seeing how as in a small controlled environment, getting all these people together from all sorts of places or different backgrounds, and imagine that on a huge scale around the world. It's gonna be
Napoleon
magical.
Hill coined it the mastermind in the 30s. If you want to do anything big and powerful, you need to have a mastermind group of people with varying skill sets to get it done. You
Yeah.
can't do it alone. And it's weird because he wrote that in the 30s, yet I feel for the last 10, 20 years, like it's been programmed into our heads that, like, oh no, you can do it alone. Look at Bill Gates. Look at Steve Jobs. You know, forget
Yeah.
Wozniak, just Steve Jobs.
And
Look
even
at
in the
all these
Marvel
guys.
movies, bro, it's always like the
They do it
superhero.
alone. Yeah. And so it's like some psyop to program us to think that we can be the hero all on our own when really we
takes a
require
team, bro.
It requires community. Like, once again, it requires connection and other people.
Yeah. And it requires a defined mission, I think. And it, you know, like we need to be aiming at something. We need a North Star. And you know, for Sovereignty Studios, I mean, we're defining it every day and we're honing in on it. But you know, I think that we're all tapping into the same energy, and I think that's absolutely needed for people to come together, work to build something that is bigger than them. Yeah,
And the world's ready for that as well. There's so much stuff going around everywhere. People are realizing it in, you know, lots of different countries, and I think that's why everyone ends up coming to El Salvador to check it out, see for themselves, and you know, can't always trust everything that you read online. You know, can't always trust everything that people tell you, but you can see it for yourself. You can go check it out. You know.
And it's pretty crazy how easily, or I don't know if I say easily, naturally, organically, randomly, it's not random, but we tapped into something with Sovereignty
I
Studios.
feel like we hacked the Matrix, bro.
Yeah, like, you know, you can't pay for this kind of success as far as attention and hype and people stoked and people like traveling to El Salvador to be a part of something. Like, you can't pay for that.
Yeah.
You can't build that. Like, you have to, like, we tapped into something
Just
crazy here.
the commitment that each of us have, right? Like, what do you think? You're gonna hire somebody and get that? Yeah, right. You're not gonna get that. Like, it takes something deeper, you know, something
The fact that we did this whole retreat and no one got paid.
yeah.
I mean, the people, I guess some of the people doing the more fine tuning and the people obviously.
Yeah, I mean, our
providing, but-
vendors, right? But and then eventually, I would like to absorb them into our ideology here. Like maybe we're creating a cult here. I don't know.
Sounds a bit cultish.
Yeah, well, it is cultish, but I don't think I think everything's a cult. You know, like
Everything you care enough about sounds cultish to the people that don't.
yeah, exactly. You know, if you
every country's a cult in a way, every family's a cult, every friendship group's a cult in some kind of way.
Government is
You
a
know.
cult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every government's a cult. You know, you could interchange that word for a tribe or, you know, a community.
I like the word tribe. Yeah, I think that's what we're building, man. We're building a tribe, and it's starting online. I got to read the network state in more detail because I feel like I'm gonna gain a lot more clarity for what we're doing because I'm acting a lot on intuition and just going with my gut feeling. But I know that there's people who have thought deeply about this, and it's always cool to read their thoughts because it gives you more clarity as to what your intuition is telling you.
What,
you know?
what's the network state?
So it's written by Balaji. I don't know how to say his name, dude. Balaji, yeah. Anyways, so the basic idea is that, you know, with technology, we're now going to be able to connect with each other in ways that we haven't before, human beings, and that's going to really like create a shift in how humans organize themselves, right?
So it's a book talking about.
It's a book. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a book, yeah.
it's a book, but you know what's cool when you read this book, he's created it so he's like, this is the basic idea in one sentence, this is the basic idea in one paragraph, this is the basic idea in 1,000 words, and this is the basic idea in a book. So it's like pick how you want to digest this information, right? And so you can go deeper and deeper and deeper as you want to. But the idea is that, like, you know, we now have the technology to communicate and connect with each other, now interact with each other economically through digital means. And that is going to dramatically shift how society organizes itself. And so, first, tribes are going to form online and connect with each other online. And they're going to connect with each other through shared values, shared missions, shared principles, shared beliefs. And then they're going to eventually move offline, and they're going to congregate together because people want to live next to other people who share their values, right? And so, in a lot of ways, that's what we're doing. Like Jordan lives on my street, Matthias moved into my house, and so did Paul, and we all live in the same place, and it's been awesome. The amount of productivity that we've been able to accomplish would not have happened if we work remotely or if we were, across the city or whatever. So I think this is the future, right? Like you find your tribe online, then you come offline, and you integrate together, and you create and you build. And when you have people working together because they want to, not just because they're getting paid, like amazing things can happen. And I think we saw that this weekend. Like I literally think that we're living the future right now. Yeah.
And it enables us to transcend just the scarcity mindset and the fear that comes in traditional fiat civilization where you're always worried about what's next, blah, blah, blah. Because once you get activated creatively, you're motivated, you got a team, you got a community, like everything else just disappears and you're just here in the moment and you're living. And like that's how we should really be, right? How we're supposed to be is just focusing on ourselves and our creative drive. And because naturally when we do that, we're making the world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah, man. When you're tapping into who you are as an individual, and then you're exploring that, and you're harnessing that, and you're cultivating that, and then you're expressing that.
You know they used to say like a smile is contagious.
Mm-hmm.
You smile at someone and it could make someone's whole day.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe they were on their way to commit suicide and you smile at them and they decide not to, I feel like it's that kind of thing. Like it's just contagious.
Dude, our energy is powerful, man. And this is one thing I realized this weekend too. Like, these people came to be around some positivity, some optimism, some hopefulness. And, I feel like we gave it to them. And it very much feels like there was a deep energy transfer among everyone, and that good vibes were spread all around. And it's for real. You want to be around like-minded individuals who share your vision, who share your ideals, share your zest for life, and because it makes you feel alive.
I didn't really ask anyone. I don't know if anyone else did, but it would have been interesting to find out. Did everyone come on this retreat because of the things, the excursions, the learn about El Salvador, this and that?
Dude.
Or were they drawn to coming to hang out with the people?
I think give Matthias the mic right now, because him and we did all the like exit interviews, right? And hearing them talk about what they thought about the retreat was, dude, so fulfilling, so gratifying. It like, I wish you would have heard some of it. I mean, you did today a little bit with Anne, but we did this with almost everyone on the retreat, and I was like blown away. They didn't come for the excursions or anything like that. They came because, first of all, they were curious about El Salvador and what the hype is about. But I think they came to connect with people, man. I honestly do. What do you think, Matthias?
Yeah, 100%. It was a little unbelievable. Like, you really think this?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw you asking the questions. You're like going through the interview, then like, thank you so much. Like,
yeah,
like
because
it felt really genuine. Like with everyone.
It felt authentic and genuine, and I was like, holy cow, we're doing something amazing here. Like, we're connecting with people's soul. That's how it felt like. And we're helping them explore who they are as people and connect them with others that, would help them grow and build the life that they're seeking, you know, and build the connection that they're looking for. Because I think that everyone's waking up to this idea that, or not to the idea, to the reality that this world is right now fucked up, like, for lack of better words, like it's being that's we need you're not as quick as Matthias.
I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you to say the F word again. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, they're recognizing that the world is messed up, man, especially after COVID and all the bullshit we had to deal with, and they're looking for that connection, and they're looking for, you know, like what's this all about then, right? If we're all just controlled by these, you know, corporate conglomerates and just being harnessed for our like whatever energy or
What if you think about the concept of something that is like anything that's revolutionary, right? All it requires is enough people believing in it so strongly to say no to anyone telling you otherwise.
Yeah, man.
So the stronger and hotter and brighter you can make that fire, the harder it is to stop. You know, and that's kind of like,
that's why I like El Salvador, dude. Like I said, it's a Schelling point, and it's like we're creating critical mass over here. Like you get enough sovereign-minded individuals over here, man. I don't know what, you know. I don't know what kind of force is going to be unleashed. Like look at already what we did, you know. And it's been 2 months over here. We came in like a bat out of hell, like, and we ain't stopping. You know, like, dude, the retreat's finished, and we got 6 people in here doing a podcast.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And we got like multiple potential people joining the team.
yeah,
And
so
moving down here to be part of it.
that's the other cool part about like what we're doing, right? We're creating a collaborative community, a productive community. It's not just a community like kumbaya, you know, come sit by me and let's talk about nothing. It's like come over and let's fucking build something.
I really like what Julian said, and he's the only one that said this, but he just recognized from the beginning, like, we're not trying to do this for the money. We're doing it because we're community builders, and that's the real priority here.
Yeah, Julian's pretty insightful in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really even notice that, you know? Like,
Yeah.
But-
I mean, it's very clear. I mean, I noticed it this weekend, you know, and like I said, a lot of this is intuitive. I don't know where I'm being led, but then when I saw everyone come together and have a fantastic time, I'm like, oh shit,
I'm on the right path.
yeah. Am I a community builder? I guess I am. You know, and I genuinely really care about people, and I want them to have a good time, and I want them to like search for, you know, who they are as a person and find ways in which they can harness that in order to provide value to the world, because in my opinion, that's one of the most fulfilling things you can do. Like Ben, right? You are a musician, right? And you love music, and
Yeah, man.
it's deeply ingrained into your soul. Would you say so?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it professionally back in London for about 15 years. You know, yeah, first started doing things like Mamma Mia and Lion King, and then started playing in bands. And yeah, it's really good to come out here and, you know, share my experience and bring something to the table and work with you guys and, you know, put some stuff on at the party. And yeah, I think music's a great way of communicating ideas. Sometimes you can communicate an idea better with music than just words alone. So in the same way, a picture can do that. You know, art's a special thing in communicating with other people. And yeah, I feel like that's another way that we can get the message across to people, and, you know, and help people understand what we're experiencing.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
looking forward to doing more stuff like that.
And
And
that's go ahead.
I like how Bitcoin, the principles of Bitcoin, are what seemed, obviously don't know your story that well, but have seemed to propel you from doing the Broadway gigs into like your own thing. right? It's like I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
in this thing. Now I'm going to use these skills I have to bring them together.
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe that Bitcoin's going to help everybody who does embrace it, and right now, England's not so good at doing that. I can I can talk to people about it, but a lot of people still choose not to want to understand. It is quite a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people to understand the fact that your
Everything's
energy's
going to zero against Bitcoin.
everything's going to be against Bitcoin. Right. So yes, it is great coming out here to El Salvador and being around everybody. It's on the same kind of philosophical wavelength and energy, and talking the same philosophical language. And I think that is because of the morals that Bitcoin gives you once you start to embrace it and you start to understand what it's doing. Because it isn't just a form of money, it's much deeper than that. On the surface, it's a currency, but once you start to study it a bit more and get deeper into it, you start to realize you can fix fiat standard, turn into a Bitcoin standard. It's going to fix a lot of problems in the world, and yeah, I think slowly people are going to wake up to that. But yeah, right now you still got a lot of countries that won't even want to consider, doing some research on it. And I think anybody who does do some research ends up coming around to understanding that.
Yeah. It's going to end up it's just going to take time.
Yeah.
It's just going to take time, and it's going to take, I think, what we're people doing what I think we're doing, right? Using Bitcoin's rails to create the social layer. And I think that's exactly what we're doing. We're using Bitcoin's rails to build out the social layer. And
I have a question.
yeah.
So I don't want to name names, but we're gonna have to name names because that's the nature of my question. Who embodies that spirit? The Bitcoin community that is, out there famous.
What spirit?
The Bitcoin spirit. What we've been talking about. I have a person in mind. I have my person, but Eric Voorhees.
Eric Stacks.
Oh, yeah. For me, it's Voorhees.
Yeah.
He is an OG. Eric Voorhees.
Yeah. So I have a story with Eric. So I watched
which Eric? We have to be specific.
Voorhees. So he's one of the first people that got me into Bitcoin, and it wasn't him personally. It was listening to him on a podcast, but this was I don't know what 2000 something. He got on the podcast and he was just like, yeah, I'm just taking I'm taking everything that I make and I'm just putting it in Bitcoin. Every paycheck I get, it goes into Bitcoin. And he was just like, with so much conviction that I was like, okay, I need to do the same thing. It was like that. Yeah. So Eric is definitely an OG. He's shitcoin though. That's the only problem that I see.
What, with Shapeshift?
Yeah, just with in general, and I get the general, and he insists on shitcoining. That's the only problem.
What do you mean by that?
So I think that he's a Bitcoiner, 100%, but he also sees this world where decentralized finance and tokenization play a big part in creating financial freedom for the individual. And I agree with that. The only problem is that I think that he supported a lot of projects that are shit and that are scams. And that's the issue I see. And that's my gripe with Eric. And I think that's why he unfollowed me. So
Yeah. You know what's interesting about all that? And a shitcoiner put it in terms that kind of made sense to me recently. And that was Okay, so what does Bitcoin do, right? It creates a sound currency for everyone. But what does all this DeFi on these other blockchains potentially do that could be of value for the world? It helps us do finance without banks. Like that's what decentralized finance is we can do all these things without banks.
Yeah.
And that enables to get more complicated with what we do with our wealth and all this shit that on Wall Street's all convoluted, which may or may not even be a plus to begin with, the fact that the financial system's so complicated. But to be able to do things even just like a loan or a collateralized loan, be able to do it without a bank, like we're taking the power away from the banks so we can just do it ourselves.
Yo, I want to talk about that too, because this goes into the DAO, right? Like, I hope that we can build our DAO on top of Bitcoin using the liquid sidechain or whatever they call it, right?
Whatever the fuck it's called these days.
Yeah. But think about if we do the DAO, right? And we distribute our shares on some type of distributed ledger. And
As a registered security
yes,
in El Salvador.
as a security.
Yeah.
And then that is tied to some type of Bitcoin address, some type of, there's a registry where they have a Bitcoin address, and, and we all do this seamlessly with no third parties. Like, that's DeFi. That's DeFi, where we're issuing our dividends through tokenized securities, but using Bitcoin. And that to me is the real revolution.
Yeah, I would imagine there's got to be a project out there working on this.
I can't believe it's not happened yet in a bigger manner. Like, everyone wants to build their own blockchain. It's like, fuck, dude, just issue your tokens on Bitcoin or something like that. And like, let's distribute the dividends in Bitcoin. So we're all operating on one platform.
What do they say? There's like the three things to like have the perfect blockchain, and you always have to sacrifice one of them. So it's like scalability, privacy, and security. I think those are the three things.
That's
I could be wrong there.
But
Well, I want to ask another question.
all right.
It's just quick. Sorry to interject, but
All good.
okay. I mean, is there such thing as progress? And what I mean by that is the point you were bringing up earlier, that a system that gets us out from centralized system, even if it's not the ideal system, if that's our option, are we still up for it? And in many ways, what I think a lot about is, what happened with RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. For them, Trump wasn't their first choice. In many ways, they each ran for for be president. But when it came down to it, they said, this is important enough. We'll unite Trump and do what we have to do to save the country. So the question becomes, and it really is just a question, I'm not trying to push anything, is, are there things out there that although it is not ideal, should we at least go on an adventure and try and figure out if we can give progress?
Yeah, man, I don't care. I mean, fuck, you want a shit coin and you want to put your money in scams, go ahead. And if that's the price that we got to pay for progress, then let's do it. But you're an idiot.
I also think there's different ways of looking at that technology, where it's like if you're trying to make money or save money or speculate with the shit coins, then yeah, maybe you're an idiot. But there actually are use cases for a lot of that shitcoin technology.
Well,
that's just cool. It's just cool. It's just a shame that it's built on top of something that you can't trust, potentially.
dude, I think there's some legitimate projects, right, that are out there that are really trying to do something revolutionary, for sure. But I just think that's a very small percentage. I think the rest, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99% are shit, are scams, are people. And you know what? Even if you want to experiment, I'm all about experimentation. The only problem is that because of the nature of the speculative market, right? People can say, yeah, man, I'm building it. And they're just riding off the coattails of Bitcoin's success, right? Yeah, I'm building the next Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin is great and all, but I'm building the bigger, faster, more decentralized version of it. And it's like, but they're not. They're just they're just saying all these buzzwords, and I think that we experienced that this weekend, listening to some people and what explain some of their ideas, and we're like, yo, this sounds like a straight up scam, right? And so, that they just use the buzzwords in order to hide the what would you call that?
What they're hiding?
Yeah,
The
what
scam?
Yeah, but it's more than that. But I'll think of the word if I can figure it out. I mean, it's my third glass of wine, so kind of. I'm kind
Well,
of.
what I was going to say earlier is that, there are smart contracts on Bitcoin. You can already do that. They're just not as complex because that layer 1 or even the layer 2, potentially later the layer 2s or 3s can be more complex for doing things like all this gaming stuff or whatever fractionalization that actually does have legitimate use cases for what people do in this world. But you have to sacrifice one of the scalability, privacy, or security things. It might not be privacy. I forget what the third one is, but the point is no one's been able to make a blockchain that has all of those things. You have to sacrifice one of them. So if we want to build it on Bitcoin currently as it is, for example, maybe scalability is lost. Or if you move to a layer 2, security is lost. Or maybe not security, but like security is always there in Bitcoin, but it's not there maybe in Ethereum for whatever reason. So the point is, at what layer, at what point in time is it priority enough? Because back in 2017, I was asking, why aren't they doing this Ethereum stuff on Bitcoin? All the smart contract, ICO stuff. Like, why don't they just do that on Bitcoin? Because it's just way harder because it wasn't built for that.
Okay. And I totally get it. I get the trade-offs, and I get that, like, you're not going to have everything, and that's fine. It's just, it's the way they market themselves, right? It's the way Ethereum marketed itself as like the world computer and this ultrasound money, right?
Did they say that?
Yeah, dude. They said, "Oh yeah, Bitcoin's sound money, Ethereum's ultrasound money," and so that's where the scammy nature of it comes into play, right? Like, it'd be a lot better if people were just honest, say, "Hey, this is an experiment. This is what we're trying to do. We're not really focused on, this incorruptible security because this is not really necessary for what this application is trying to do." Like, I think about certain security models, right? Especially with what we're trying to do with building a DAO for Sovereignty Studios, and I'm like, I don't need like, what kind of I'm trying to think of the power backing Bitcoin, right? The
Proof of work.
Yeah, it's proof of work, but it's like thermodynamic proof of work or something, like, you know what I mean? It's like, we don't need all of that security to run our DAO. Like, we could run it on some type of proof of stake system as well. We could run it on a federated system. Like, if it gets hacked, and it's not that big of a deal, but like, when you're talking about a currency or a money for the world to build on top of, like, you need that geothermal nuclear.
But if you have $1 billion company and you've tokenized your shares, legally, whatever, you probably don't want to be hacked. I mean, that would create a lot of disaster. It could fuck up the company.
Sure. So
on
you
a
need a
global
different,
level.
you need a different security model,
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what, so it would be better to just have it on Bitcoin,
Sure.
right? Because the security is better.
Yeah, but maybe. Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, is Bitcoin even, could it fill that use case? I don't know.
I hope that's the goal. I mean, you can do. Yeah, we don't have to get into technical
I can't wait.
conversations, but
This is why I love this podcast, because we're gonna be talking to all types of cool, interesting people. Like, I learned so much about Nostra already, and the decentralized communication protocol, and all of that stuff. And I'm like, man, this is really fascinating. That I would have never learned about that. And I think that we're gonna learn more about different models, security models going forward, and how businesses can structure themselves in a decentralized manner going forward.
I mean, for all we know, Noster's whole public key thing could be the way to run a DAO. You just send the notes and other stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That other stuff could be the information necessary, like holding the wallets and what your payout is going to be, and it goes through Noster to send you a Lightning Zap for your payouts that month. Like Noster could be the way to do a DAO.
Yeah.
And Noster's not even really a blockchain
I
thing.
can't wait to really look into this. I feel like now that the retreat is over, we can like hunker down and figure cool shit out.
Yeah, we got to get the people more knowledgeable than us and on the show to have these conversations to figure out what the technology is.
And this is we got sidetracked, but I wanted to mention this before. One of the cool things that I like about Sovereignty Studios and the human element of it is that, you know, we want to connect with people on a personal level, but we also want to tap into their skill sets and their talents and harness that and leverage that, right? Like, and this is what I think is happening here is that we provide a purpose for people too, for their innate skill sets that probably wouldn't be found in the fiat world, you know? Like Ben, man, you can come here and jam out and create your own music that uplifts, you know, the culture, the big, you know, that Sovereignty Studios is trying to create. And you have a spot for you here. And it's all like voluntarily based too. And especially if we build out this DAO, right? I imagine that people can come in and come out as they please. And then, you know, what they contribute, they get paid shares for. And those shares get paid out Bitcoin into perpetuity based on, and so it's like I just foresee this being a really like, I don't even know what the word is, but a really just voluntarily based organization that just takes in contributors, and you can go in and out as you please, and everyone's incentivized for, or everyone's incentives are for the organization to succeed. Are you tapping out?
I'm getting tired.
I could tell.
Well, I want to mention something. Maybe
Yeah.
perhaps on that topic, we can bring in somebody from Stacks. So there's a Bitcoin layer 2 that's been around for a long time already. They're one of the OGs.
I didn't realize you were such a Bitcoiner. This is
Yo,
great.
so this is what I
Low-key
mean. Like
Bitcoiner.
I have a feeling that we're recruiting a line to our cult over here in
I am
El Salvador.
the naked lambada. There.
Yeah.
For
And
the
that's-
rec- I want to set the record straight. It was bachata.
Get it right, Max. Come on.
Right. No, but seriously. So Stacks is a Bitcoin layer 2. They're one of the OGs. It's been around for more than one cycle. They just went through their Nakamoto upgrade like a few weeks ago. That officially gives them the security of Bitcoin on the layer 2. What we were talking about. And it has.
They have a browser plugin like MetaMask, right, to connect your wallet.
They
I think I
might,
used
I'm
it.
not
I used
sure.
it for ordinals once, I think.
Oh, okay.
If I'm
okay.
thinking of the
So
thing
I don't
right.
know, Stacks Nation, if we can make that happen, get somebody in here. To
Bro,
talk
we're
about
gonna get everyone in here. Like, we'll make it happen. I want to build on Bitcoin, man. I want to build on Bitcoin, and so we got to flesh out what we're trying to do here a little bit more, and then we got to find the right people to help us build it. That's just it.
I think something really cool that's upcoming here in El Salvador are the Bitcoin-backed mortgages. The government is creating a new private bank that will facilitate that, and that's going to be world-changing, in my opinion. It's going to set a standard for buying real estate with Bitcoin for not only El Salvador, but hopefully the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's the kind of thing like that only the nation state can bring forward, right? It's like changing the regulations and the rules for all that to really see what Bitcoin can accomplish on a big scale. Here in El Salvador.
Woo!
Well,
All right, I'm
don't
I'm
count
done.
on me for any more conversation starters.
I know.
I'm running out of.
I mean, here's what I think. I'm just gonna finish this off.
Give me another glass of wine.
It was an epic weekend. I love you guys. And yeah, I can't wait to do it again. And if you like Sovereignty Studios, consider coming to one of our community calls so we can collaborate.
Can I do a few shout outs?
Sure.
Yeah, I want to thank Sabrina and the Bitcoin Mansion team for being wonderful hosts. She was an absolute all-star, helping us put everything together. She was the glue for the weekend. Her and Sean were amazing.
Sean's the man.
Yes.
Sabrina's the woman.
And yeah, Mike mentioned Ronnie. He's such a great community leader over there in El Zonte with the Bitcoin hardware store. We rent cars from him as well, so he's a wonderful resource. Thanks to Chef Javier, he catered 2 wonderful dinners for the retreat. Dude is an absolute boss. Who else we got here? Palo Verde had us for lunch, an absolute wonderful hotel and restaurant. A few of us went next door to Canegwe Cafe. In my opinion, the absolute best food in El Zonte. So shout out to Ollie and his team over there. And Florence with Imprimello printing in San Benito. She saw our vision from day one. Matt, Mike, and I sat down with her. We explained to her what we envisioned for this retreat, and she saw it from the get-go, what we were building. And well, to start, she was kind of shocked that we were doing something like this in her country. But once we explained to her,
And with such a short amount of time.
yeah, in such a short amount of time. And actually, when we first got there, Jamie, who is partners with Ronnie over there at the hardware store, he walks in and he was getting stuff from her. So it was awesome to see her already working with Bitcoiners, and she's already kind of on that wavelength as to the standard of service and products that we like. So, and I'm probably forgetting a bunch of other people that helped us. I am, but yeah,
Sergio with the hats.
yeah, Sergio with the hats.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. You know what, man? We should just do a podcast shouting out all our vendors, man.
Coconut shirts over in Tunco. They do a lot of work for businesses around the country, and we got our shirts from them, really high quality. So we couldn't have done it without the people around us and the vendors.
Bitcoin Mansion, Eddie, Julian, Ivan. Yeah, absolutely.
The hotel next door, famous
Don
La Curva de Don Jere.
Don Henne, I met him today, man. What a smooth guy, bro. He's like old school El Salvadoran, man. I felt like I just took a time warp back into like the 70s when I met him, man. Just cool, chill dude. Very happy that we were there. You know, I don't think he sees a lot of like Americans coming there like we did.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. And we'll see you again soon. Tomorrow, I think. We're doing another episode tomorrow.
We need to get this
The hell is
engine
that
running
music?
again, man. This one was a little rough start, but we got it revving at the end there.
Yeah. All right.
Adios, amigos.
See ya.